What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is another Mandalorian Star Wars video. Today we'll be continuing our talk on the recap of Season 1 of The Mandalorian. And today I'll be talking about Episode 5, The Gunslinger. So, the Mando has just left... He's just left Sorgon in Episode 4. And he's trying to find another place for the kid. He's also trying to find some bounty work as well. And he kind of gets into a space battle with another bounty hunter. And the bounty hunter behind him, he's actually got a Xandu Blood type ship, which is what Cad Bane's ship is in the Clone Wars TV series, which I thought was pretty cool. And they get into kind of a space dogfight with their ships. And the other bounty hunter actually tells the Mando, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. So that kind of pisses off the Mandalorian, and he makes a sweet maneuver, gets behind him, says, that's my line, and then kills that bounty hunter. So I thought that was a great way to start off the episode. I thought that was really cool. And so then we have the bounty hunter, we have the Mando on his way to Tatooine. So there's actually a lot of scenes in here from when he's on Tatooine that kind of go back to the scenes in Episode 4, A New Hope, from the main trilogy. So he actually flies by kind of the point where Obi-Wan, Luke, C-3PO, and R2 are on, where with Luke's speeder, and Obi-Wan says, Mos Eisley Spaceport, you will never find a more wretched place of scum and villainy. And then he also walks into the same entrance, into the same cantina that Obi-Wan and Luke meet Han. But at the beginning of this episode, the Mando docks his ship into a bay and basically needs repairs. So these pit droids that you see from Episode 1 of Phantom Menace are there, and they work with this lady. Now, this lady's name is Peli Moto, and she works on ships basically for a living. And the Mando asks, can she fix his ship, but don't use the droids, because the Mando doesn't like droids. So she agrees to it, and he tells her that he's going to go find some work so that he can pay her. So at first he pays her enough just for the docking bay, but he said he has to go get more. So that's when he goes off and goes to the same cantina that Luke and Obi-Wan meet Han. So at first when he walks in, he talks to a droid. Now, that droid is the same droid we see in Episode 6 at Jabba's palace when he tells C-3PO he can be the new translator for Jabba, and R2 he can go work on the sail barge. That's the same droid. I didn't know that. I actually just found that out today when I was kind of looking up stuff for this episode. So the droid says the guild isn't here anymore, and that's when this younger kid basically says, think again, droid. And this kid is sitting in the same booth that Han fries Greedo in Episode 4. And I couldn't tell when I was watching it if you could actually see the blast mark from where Greedo missed. I thought that would have been kind of cool if that would have been there. But this young kid's name is Toro Calican. And he basically asks the Mando if he wants to help him with his first job. He says the Mando can take all the money and he can, take all the money. He just wants help getting into the guild. So that's when Toro takes out his bounty puck, and the bounty that he's after her name is Fennec Shand. and she's a notorious um, bounty hunter known for her sniping abilities. She can just pick off people by sniping them, and she's kind of like a an Aura Singh from the Clone Wars series. Now we remember from Solo, Tobias Beckett is the one that kills Aura Singh. She was a very well-known bounty hunter during the Clone Wars, and then a little bit during the Reign of the Empire. So this Fennec Shan kind of takes over like how important Aura Singh was and how good at sniping she was. So he basically agrees to it and then tells Toro to bring 2 speeders to his docking bay. So during that time, Baby Yoda actually leaves the ship. And that's when Pelimoto goes and sees him and brings him some food and basically tells Baby Yoda, you know, I'm going to get the Mandalorian to pay double because I'm watching after you. So the Mando comes back to the docking bay, and Pelimoto basically tells him you need to watch. You can't just leave a little one in the ship. Like, you have to watch after him and whatnot. And the Mando basically asks her to watch him while he finishes this job. So Toro and the Mando go off on the speeders, and they run into this guy that's getting pulled by a dewback. So for those of you that don't know what a dewback is, that's in episode 4, the 2 creatures that the stormtroopers are riding on when they're looking for C-3PO and R2-D2. So they are trying to check on this guy that's getting pulled. He's dead. And that's when Fennec Shan ends up shooting at the Mandalorian and hits him in his Beskar. So they jump over this hill, and Toro asks if he's okay, and he goes, yeah, it just hit me in the Beskar. And Toro's kind of anxious to go attack and whatnot, and the Mando says that she has the high ground. So I thought that was kind of cool. They've hidden a couple Easter eggs like that. They actually did it too in the Jedi Fallen Order video game. They had one of the stormtroopers say, at least we have the high ground. So I thought that was kind of cool how they incorporated that. So then the Mando says we're going to wait till night to go and attack. So they hold out till nightfall, and they end up going on their speeders. So then what they use is flash bombs so that they can get closer, so that it kind of stuns Fennec Shan's sight through her sniper rifle. And that's when they get close enough, and Fennec actually shoots the Mando pretty close, and the Beskar still holds up, but then Toro is behind her, and they get into kind of a fight, and then the Mando shows up and they capture her. But during the battle, Fennec actually destroys one of the other speeders. She destroys the Mando speeder. So the Mando then asks Toro to go get the dewback that they found earlier. So Toro doesn't really like that. He thinks that he should stay with the bounty because it's his bounty, but even though Mando's getting the money. So the Mando goes off to get the dewback. And that's when Fennec Shan basically is trying to talk Toro to go after the Mando, because she tells him that his Beskar alone is probably worth more than you'll ever make bounty hunting. And then she also tells him about how he left the guild and still has Baby Yoda with him. So that's when, and then she also tells him, you know, bounty hunters kind of have to look out for themselves. And Toro says, thanks for the advice, and then fries her. So he kills Fennec Shan and then goes off on the speeder back to the docking bay where he takes Baby Yoda. So the Mando basically gets back to where Fennec Shan originally was on the dewback, and it's later in the day, and sees that she's dead. So he then goes back to Mos Eisley and goes back to his hangar and sees that Toro Calican's speeder's there, and he's holding Baby Yoda. So the Mando puts his blaster down because Toro kind of has the upper hand right now. And then Toro tells Pelimoto to handcuff the Mando because he's going to bring him into the guild. But the Mando throws a flash grenade again, and it stuns Toro. And the Mando kind of gets to the side of him, and he shoots and kills Toro Calican. And then we see, I think that Baby Yoda uses force speed, because when he was falling, we thought that Toro Calican like squished him kind of, but he eventually kind of gets away and is hiding from everybody, and then he kind of peeks his head around the corner like he's okay. But yeah, so the Mando pays Pelimoto for fixing his ship, and pays her for watching after Baby Yoda, and then they leave, and that's kind of how the episode ends. So I thought this was a cool episode. It had a lot of Easter eggs from, episode 4, episode 6. So I thought it was kind of cool how they did some throwbacks to the original movies, and I thought this was a pretty good episode. It wasn't the best in the series. I think it was another filler episode, but I thought it was better than how most filler episodes would be, just because they went back to Tatooine, and I think a lot of people like that. So that's all I got today, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Always hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks, guys.